This video is going to show you Solar Master Nightfall getting platinum rank on the Warden of Nothing. It's also double Vanguard points, so I'll be showing you easy clears on Masters. Not to say that you need to farm on Masters, you can farm on Hero, you can farm on Legend, right? You don't have to be farming Master, but I'm just going to show you the Master variant anyways, right? As we start this section, we're going to start out with an Empowering Rift. So on the Warlock, we're using Radiance, the exotic chestplate Starfire protocol, which is very good with classy restoration this season. We're using the fusion grade setup basically. I showed you the setup, the fragments, the aspects at the very start of the video, so if you're confused, then just look back at that start. I'm trying to condense these videos. When it's master content, because people don't view master content as they used to do before Grandmasters came out, these aren't as important as they used to be, the Masters. Because people are just literally waiting for the... they're either farming lower tier Nightfalls or they're waiting for GMs. Not many people are doing the Masters so much. Because there's not much point. You can get your Pinnacle reward from Legend, right? Sometimes Hero on some of the Nightfalls, and that's match made. And they're a better way to farm, you know, points, double Vanguard points. Better just to farm Hero anyways. So there's not much point to doing the Masters because they're in like a grey area. But they're fun now, I guess, because of the acute burn. So you can see what you can do with stuff. You know, what weapons work well. Like, for example, right now I'm using the exotic trace rifle, Prometheus lens, because it's overload trace. The first time we've ever had overload trace for any other trace apart from Divinity. So that's sort of sparked the idea of the run, really, to see how good is it on overloads. Because I've been wanting to really try it all season, but I haven't had a chance because leveling up, right? You know, I prioritize leveling above anything else. When a season first comes out for the first 3 weeks, I prioritize getting to master level. I'm pretty much there now, 1588, so I'm pretty much done just about. Once I've binged on the XP and I get to the master level, you know, 1590 will be, then that's me done with XP. I don't touch it again, that's it. Because I hate the way we level, but I just binge it for the first couple of weeks, as I said. Get to where I need to be, then I can have fun and actually start playing the game instead of doing Bounty Simulator. But as you can see with this Unstoppable, we haven't got Unstoppable shot or rounds or whatever. So we just tank him with the fusion grades, Prometheus lens, and just sword. It's more than enough damage. If you're going to push an Unstoppable, make sure you got classy restoration applied. If you're at full health, you can push him, but depends on your power, right? If you're below 1580, you might just want to just solo the Legend one instead of doing the Master. But if you're above 1580, yeah, you can have, you know, start soloing these. I'm not saying it's not possible below 1580, but at that point you're wasting time because you're spending you so much time just to do one Nightfall when you could have just done 2 Legends or 3 Heroes. So that's where I'm going with it, you see. We're going to show you a bit of trace rifle on champs, how it reacts to champs. It's a decent trace rifle, this Prometheus lens. It's obviously buffed by solar acute burn. Cold Heart's my favourite at the minute because of how Cold Heart works, but it's obviously solar acute burn, so Cold Heart's not going to work as well in this. But if we get any arc Nightfalls, I can't mind if there is going to be any arc burn Nightfalls, but if any of them are, then Cold Heart's, I'm going to try that one out as well. The problem this season is they've given us the trace rifle, the overload trace, but they've given us no Nightfalls with overloads in. 2 of the 6 are overload Nightfalls. What is the point? They're all unstoppable. I can't believe they've done that, but the reason why is the way it is because Cabal has all unstoppables. The Cabal race doesn't have an overload style champ, so all the Cabal based stuff basically is unstoppable barrier. So they've done really good with the mod, giving us overload trace, but we can't. You're barely using it. You're barely using it on anything. So it's kind of a shame, you know, in a sense. So what I wanted to do with this barrier, because he's so far away, is prime him. When I say prime, I mean take a little bit of his HP off to get the first shield break, then push, because that's your moment of opportunity, because there's no cover to sort of fight him closer to him, and then we'll just spam him with the nades and then get a Radiant on him, because obviously got the Radiant fragment on. And then if I need to do any damage on weapons I can. Obviously Radiant only affects weapon damage, it doesn't affect ability damage, so I don't want to mislead somebody by saying that. But the melee itself does a lot of damage. I've got Celestial Fire on, not the other melee. So the other melee doesn't have as much range as Celestial Fire. Celestial Fire has far more range, it's better tracking. It's an overall better melee. Stop using the new melee, start using the more consistent melee for those of you that want to be playing well on a Warlock. For those of you who just want to have fun in patrol, destinations, mess around. Yeah, mess around with the new melee, but once you've used it, you've seen it, switch over to Celestial. It's a better melee. It's a better ability. So what I'm doing there is I'm going to take out the Hydra first before stepping up the stairs, because once you step past those stairs, you get the ad spawning. We can take advantage of that by melting the Hydra beforehand, meaning that when we do push, I'm not going to die to the Hydra or whatever. So I can basically tank a lot of damage, get one of the barriers down, so I prep left, and just keep using Empowering Rifts and stuff. Now I'm going to come behind this section here, and then what I want to focus is the ads. The reason being is before the champ is because the ads will eventually push up to where the trains are going past. Now you need to understand that if you do not tag any of the ads, when the train kills them, you definitely will not get any ammo pickups off them. You will get no ammo drops off them because they will count as the train killing them. If you at least tag them though, it will count as your kill and you will get ammo drops. I'm getting loads of ammo. I can't believe how much ammo I'm getting on farming. But Trace Rifle Ammo Finder seems to be working out really well. Now we'll deal with the barrier, because all the spawns of goblins have stopped. Once that happens, and then I can start working on the other barrier. There's no real method to this room. Just whatever you want to do. If you want to hang out on left side, I end up going there anyways, I think. Then you can do that. Just know that the Void Minotaurs will eventually push. I'm going to actually push to middle in a minute. Just because I want the Void Minotaurs to already push me already, so that I can deal with them, so that they don't sneak up on me later or something or whatever. We're gonna try out Prometheus lens on an unmatched shield, see what damage it does. I mean, I didn't have much chance because the train was ramming that. We can try here, so it's actually really taking down that shield. Nice, right? We're going to pop a well because the boss has spawned in, and now I'm going to show you how good the Trace Rifle is with this setup, because if you don't know, I'm sure you do, everyone does by now, when you're sitting in a Rift, an Empowering Rift or a Well of Radiance, either or, any tick damage, any damage that you do counts towards your great energy. Weapons like Anarchy that deal damage over time, Witherhoard that deals damage over time, are very good because they're going to give you passive great energy. Witherhoard exceptional as well. But weapons that have like a constant stream of damage, like a Trace Rifle, is really good for this. You'll just see how much nade energy you get. So literally you can take down bosses with this. All you need is the like your heavy can be reserved for something else. You wouldn't have to actually run on this setup. You could run machine gun, linear machine gun, or sword like I'm doing. You know, sort of add clear stuff in your heavy slot and let your trace be your damage dealing weapon with the fusion nades. And that's where all your damage is going to come from. It opens loadouts up this. Which is why, when Duality came out, that's why you saw people running machine guns on this setup. Because the damage was coming from the fusion nades and then whatever you were using in your special slot. Whether it be Witherhoard or the Glaive. Right? So, as I said, it builds up a little bit. You're not confined to run a rocket launcher. You could run Galahorn in this. Galahorn would work out really well. I could have run a solar trace rifle. The legendary one from Days of Eternity, then with Galahorn, right? That would work out good as well, just as good. Maybe not quite as good. I would say Prometheus would probably be better than that solar one, just because of its exotic perk. But it is exotic, but you could still make it work. As I said, you can make a lot of stuff work in Nightfalls. You just need to open up your mind a little bit, and don't be confined to just using one thing, you know. start using other stuff. The mods are here for you to experiment, so you may as well. So we haven't got unstopped. Just look at the damage that we're doing. It's really good. And we're using the Prometheus here, so you can just see the damage it's doing. It scorches them as well, so they've updated Prometheus so that to sort of synergize with the Solar 3.0, so it's scorching them, right? And then when there's so many stacks, it ignites. See that explosion? You saw it eventually do an explosion. That will obviously combine with the revitalizing blast when I actually do stun the champ, like whether it be an overload or a barrier in this case. So my ammo, this is what you need to be looking at all times really. Are you good enough for the next section ammo wise? I'm max on trace, nearly max on swords. So I'm going to skip all these ads. If you want to know how to do that, then just pop a rift with classy restoration. You get 10 seconds of immunity. Basically it's immunity. You know, you just get instant regen for that amount of time. I mean, you can run past the ads. You don't need them for score on master. On legend you would. On legend I wouldn't skip them because you obviously there's a less of a score multiplier there. So I'd recommend that you do. But obviously it's 2 multiplier on master, so you can afford to skip stuff. So we're going to prep this section. This is the mine section. We're going to run past all these mines, set them all off. They get in your way later on. I recommend that you do this, especially when GM comes out. Make sure you do it, because it could be the difference between you capturing a plate and not. Right, so we need to prep the room. So I recommend just at least run past A, B and C. And shoot any exploding barrels. That should be your golden rule, especially when you're in GM. But my first port of call is taking down the barrier. The Cabal barrier. He's the most dangerous threat in the room, and if he focuses you for any time, he will melt you quick because of solar acute burn, and they deal solar, right? Now what you want to focus next is probably the Unstoppable. The Overload and Unstoppable will fight each other, but if you're anywhere near the Overload or the Unstoppable, they will actually stop fighting each other and focus you. Like this Overload pushed me here, so that wasn't ideal. In an ideal world, on this particular loadout, you should leave the barriers, all the Vex, so Overload, the barriers, so that they do damage to the Unstoppable for you. So they're actually helping you or assisting you damage, right? Because the Unstoppable is going to be the slow point, obviously. So yeah, just leave them up. Leave those ads up, those champs, and they'll fight each other. That's why I really like this Nightfall, because you have some unique interactions with enemies and stuff. I really like that. What I would like to see, and I've seen no one request this, and I don't know why. Why have we only got 2 enemy races per Nightfall? It's always something fighting something, right? Whether it be Hive fighting Fallen or this fighting that. Why don't they up it? Why don't they have all 4 enemy races in? It's probably a limitation thing that maybe consoles can't handle it or the game can't handle it. But I would love to see all different various champion enemy types in one particular strike. They'd obviously have to design a new strike. But at least 3 enemy races. Let's get away from just 2 enemy races. We've been doing these strikes since 2014. And base value, they are just the same as what they were in 2014. We'd added champs. Some of the boss design, arguably, was better then than it is now. So we're not exactly went forward massively from 2014. We have in some ways, builds definitely. The strike design thing, nowhere. Not in my opinion. In my opinion, we went backwards with some things. But that's a suggestion to sort of like, let's make the strikes a little bigger than what they are. Right, make them bigger. I know they're designed to be a 20-minute activity, but the thing is that identity has changed, because now the better the strike, the better the GM. They're GMs, and everyone loves GMs. Let's make strikes a little bigger, a bit more ambitious, so that on higher difficulties they truly are like a GM, not just still feeling like a strike. So for the capture point, we're prepping the room again. We're not going to cap A. You have basically 50 seconds when that starts to wipe out any ads that you want. Now, I said earlier that you can skip a champ. You can choose this champ that you want to skip. So me, I want to skip the Unstoppable. So I'm going to do just that. If he pushes you, however, though, I just pop a well on the unstop and then kill him with your sword. If that happens, because then he can be a pain if he does push you like right on cap point. But if you leave some goblins up, he won't do that. Like you saw there before, he didn't. Once you cap A, the overload spawns here. I actually never knew where he spawned until I'd done this run, so that's actually handy. So we'll stun him with the overload, with the trace, but I haven't got time to do sustained fire there, so I'll bring out the sword, and then we'll go and cap C, because now we can't sort of wait to do anything else. We'll utilise our classy restoration, while trying to melt down that unmatched shield, so we used a couple of nades, because we need to take down that void quick. Because empath is on, you take increased damage from melee. So you saw there the overload minotaur nearly one-shot me before. So don't let any adds melee you, essentially. They are dangerous. And I'm nearly at power as well, so that just goes to show you. They'll probably one-shot at a lower level. Now we'll cap C, ignore the rest of the adds. There'll be an unstoppable. For me there was. I'm going to skip him. If you choose to kill the unstop, just don't kill the overload then. But I don't recommend trying to kill both if you're solo. Your time's going to be tight. You can do it. If you've got all three style mods equipped, like a glaive and stuff and lament, then sure, you're fine. But if you haven't, you just haven't got all that time to risk a death. You don't want to do that really. So, as I said, you can skip. It's no cheese. It's just this strike. You can. There's a lot of strikes like that. You can just choose which champ you want to skip in the entire thing, and it counts as plat. So that's the champ that I recommend you skip, either the unstoppable or the overload, depending on your loadout. Then we'll pick up the Scorch Cannon, which does massive damage to the boss. We won't clear any of the ads because we've got over 100k obviously, and we're just going for plat run. Our ammo is really good. If our ammo was really low, I would have started to take out some of the ads in hopes of more ammo. We don't need too much ammo for the fight, because we're basically not going to be using our sword too much. I mean, it's there if we want it, but mainly just going to be using the build, and the trace rifle does pretty much everything. So to stop the Nightfall from bugging out, which can be bugged out very easy, the champs actually stop from spawning in if you're too fast. So if you claim the treasure too quick, when you go down to the bottom of the map, the champs won't spawn in, and that means the boss won't spawn in. However, I have actually figured out you can actually get the boss to spawn in anyways. I think if you kill him you don't get loot though. I don't think it counts. So don't go down that route at all. Just be slow. This happens more solo than it does team. It's weird, because every time I run into team it doesn't seem to bug out. Solo it's more frequent. Let the dialogue finish entirely. Give it a couple of seconds, then claim the chest. You'll find that it's less likely to bug out. If the music starts playing correctly when it changes to the next one, that's fine. It might be an audio bug, because sometimes it's stuck on the previous music as opposed to going to the next music for the boss, so it might be something linked to that. I don't know, but whatever it is, just take your time. You don't want to have to. I mean, if it does happen, you just wipe, just jump off map, which is fine for masters because it's checkpoint based and you won't lose your plat score. So at the very least just wipe, like I did on my previous run for Hunter. So now we're going to jump down. The reason being is because we're going to take this overload from here. Trace rifles have a range drop off, so I didn't want to take the overload from up there, so I wanted to take him down from here. I actually de-aggroed the unstoppable as soon as I saw he was getting pretty close. I fired a nade or two over to the overload when he was weak. That then de-aggroed the unstoppable as soon as I took cover. Now we're going to use our empowering rift with our nades. It's absolutely melting this unstoppable. Right, and now he's finishable. I haven't got a classy restoration rift, so I'm not going to go out there and do a finisher kill though. I'll just actually kill him with a nade. Insane, and get my rift back anyways. So I recommend that you save your Radiance. Don't use it at all for these champs. You don't need to use it. You can use a bit of sword if you wanted. I didn't even do that. I just was showing off Revitalize and Blast. literally means you can primary champs and be successful with it. This will be the go-to GM mod, just because of the additional damage it does, and it means you save on heavy, meaning that you can use heavy at critical times rather than on champs all the time. So it's ammo efficient, this mod. It saves on heavy. It's so good. So make sure that you start getting used to it. It has a cooldown. It has like a inner cooldown where it won't stun back to back. Sometimes it does. It has a short cooldown, but for the most part you'll see a lot of utility from it. Make sure you got your Well of Radiance. Maybe an Empowering Rift as backup. Right, you might need that as backup, but I recommend that you pop a well. We'll do it roughly in middle, because the boss will teleport left and right, so you need to be able to see left and right. So you need to see all areas of the map really. If you pop your rift your well too far up, you might not be able to see the boss. You might be behind a pillar. So we're just going to spam our nade and our trace. You can see it's absolutely melting the boss. Which it's really easy just to survive because of resistance in wells now. You can survive the solar damage and stuff. But that was the Solar Master getting platinum rank for this. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.